Welcome to the October edition of the 7th grade Math District 86 Parent Newsletter. Toward the end of the month, students will be wrapping up Unit 1, Operations with Rational Numbers. During this unit, students learn to perform operations with integers, positive and negative numbers. Unit 2 provides students the opportunity to apply these new computational skills to the foundations of algebra. Unit 2 begins with students simplifying algebraic expressions. Students were introduced to algebraic expressions in 6th grade, learning the vocabulary for the parts of an expression and identifying what we call like terms. 7th grade builds upon this by adding a layer of signed numbers. From previous years, students should be familiar with the manipulatives that we use, the unit, an x, and an x squared. Students will not be solving exponential equations this year, but may encounter exponential variables in simplifying expressions. So to start looking at expressions from a 7th grade perspective, I might put a model out for students that looks something like this, and I asked students to identify the expression. There are multiple answers I can expect from students, and I can invalidate each student's response with my model. Some students may read the expression as 2 plus 3x plus 2x squared plus negative 1 plus negative 4x plus negative 2x squared. Some students might look at this and automatically see that or remember that when I have adding a negative, it's the same as subtracting. So they might say 2 plus 3x plus 2x squared minus 1 minus 4x minus 2x squared. Some students may even start grouping all of the terms together. They might do that because that's what we did in 6th grade. We grouped like terms. So we might say 2 minus 1 plus 3x minus 4x plus 2x squared minus 2x squared. And some students may even take it further and do the math. 2 minus 1 would give me 1. 3x minus 4x would give me negative 1x. And plus 2x squared minus 2x squared would give me 0. They might also say 1 minus x. They might also say negative x plus 1. There's so many different ways that they could write this expression, and we could prove all of those through our model. Now, the big idea of simplifying expressions is to take a long expression like the one we just saw and condense it down to its simplest form. So let me show you another example and what we might expect students to do. So starting with a model that looks like this, we can identify this expression as 2x squared plus 2x plus 3 minus 3x minus 2x squared minus 1. And we would have students rearrange the blocks so that like terms are together. So in this second row, I can see how I would rearrange the blocks so that I have all of my x squares together, all of my x's together, and then all of my units together. That helps us identify what needs to be combined or what needs to be moved. So I can see here that each positive and negative combine to make 0. So we have a 0 pair here and a 0 pair here. And notice how they disappear because a positive and a negative makes 0. I have a 0 pair here and a 0 pair here. So I have one x left, and I have a 0 pair with my 1s. So I have 1x plus 2. Now, we will continue with this method using the blocks to help us simplify the expressions. Then we will build on to making drawings to help us represent the situation. And then we would finally move to just the abstract. So ultimately, after many experiences using the blocks, we would transition to something that was more abstract and more algebra-like by just giving an expression and students rearranging the expression to help us simplify it. No blocks are added or removed, although they may zero out. And we're going to take this long expression and get it to a point where it is in its simplest form. So I can identify like terms with color, x squared, and I have x squared over here. So I can go back and say x squared minus 2x squared. That's going to be one situation that I'm working with. Then the next term I have is x. So I have a positive 2x and a negative 3x. So I can say that I'm going to add 2x and subtract 3x. And then my last term is units. So I have a positive 3 and a negative 1. So I am going to group those together and simplify. So now I can go through my last step and say x minus 2x. Well, if I have 1 minus 2 of anything, referring back to my integer operations, I will wind up with negative 1. And in this case, we're talking about x squared. And then I have 2x minus 3x. So I'm going to have negative 1x. And I have 3 minus 1, which is positive 2. So here's one way I can write my simplified expression. And to make it even simpler, anytime I have a coefficient of 1, we can drop that coefficient because 1 of anything would just be that thing. So I have negative x squared plus negative x plus 2, or I can write it as negative x squared minus x plus 2. Thank you for joining us on this journey to help your students become better mathematicians. Check again soon for another video.